La 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 la. La 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 la. You know what? I'm gonna fucking do it. I don't goddamn care. Just fucking get it done. All right, everybody. I hope that you're doing great today. We have a great mini workshop for you. It's going to take about 20 minutes. I'm going to keep these short and just do kind of a series of these, and I'll send them out to you as time goes on. I hope everybody's doing great. I'll show myself here. My name is Joshua Wagner, and I help people do all sorts of things to recover, particularly from burnout, stress, sadness, whatever you want to call it. I help you get to from where you are and how you're feeling to where you want to be and how you want to feel. I've helped thousands of people in my career, and I'll get to myself here in a minute, but you're here because you're probably feeling burned out. And other people are coming into the room right now. I'm going to respect that for just a moment. But I want to let you know that you can comment on anything. Now, I'm broadcasting this to a bunch of different streams right now. It's going on to TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. You may be on a different platform as well watching this. I will get to the comments as I can, but you're welcome to put comments in. I will see them later, and I will get to you directly if you have a question. So feel free to put a comment in to the comment box, and I will get to you as soon as possible. So the reason you're here is because either you're in danger of burning out or you've already gotten there. You have no idea what to do. You are at your wit's end. You can't take any more. You can't keep going forward. Maybe you've burned out professionally. Maybe you've burned out privately, personally. Maybe you burned out because you're a parent and you don't know what you're doing. But whatever the case is, I want you to know a couple things. Number one, you are not alone. Number two, it is possible to recover. You are not alone, and it is possible to recover. I want you to know those two things. It's very, very, very important. And so let's talk about this. Why are you burned out? Let's answer that question of why you are burned out. So it creeps up on us. I mean, that's the case right here. Is that burnout does not happen overnight. Nobody is fine one day and burns out the next. Now, it may seem like that. It may seem like a person burns out overnight. But the honest thing is that burnout creeps up on us. So let's define burnout. It's emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion from prolonged stress. It is emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. It's probably a precursor to a nervous breakdown. But I don't want to go there. And if you're here, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And it happens in small steps. It's accumulation. Small stressors are more significant than they appear, and they build up over time. And I want you just to think of like a drippy faucet. A dripping faucet doesn't seem, one drop at a time doesn't seem like it's all that much. But if you have a drippy faucet or a drippy ceiling, it doesn't take much to fill a whole bucket full of water. I know that at my mom's house, her hot water tank had a leak in it and nobody knew about it. And within a couple of days, the entire floor was covered in water because of a drip that nobody could see or sense. And this is what happens when we get these stressors. It's often not big things. The big things might push us over the edge, but it is an accumulation. If you're here right now, it's probably been building over time. And what happens is that these small stressors go unnoticed. These small stressors go completely unnoticed until you're flooded and you don't know what to do and everything is getting damaged and you have no way to recover because you're drowning and you didn't even know the water was rising. And why do we do this? It's because we think, well, these are just little stresses. We don't need to worry about these things. Just brush it off. You don't brush it off. Either you handle it or it gets put into the storage in your mind to be handled later. And if you put that storage at too much stress, you fill that storage up, it will overflow and you will get burnout. This is how people burn out. Not overnight. Although it seems like it, you'd be going along just fine, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're done. And you're confused, and you're frightened, and you're scared. Listen, I've been there. That's how I know what I'm talking about here. So let's talk about me for a second. If you're new to who I am, I've been working with people for over 20 years. I know I have a baby face. I'm actually 46 years old. I've been in the business for a while of helping people. I started my career in church work for the first 15 years or so. And I've worked in, from there, I left that a few years ago, and I've worked in home care and hospice. And I've since, for the last couple of years, been helping people with burnout. I burned out myself. I understand. I used to run multiple nonprofits. I was running a couple different churches. I was running soup kitchens. I was running GED learning centers, food pantries in inner city Columbus, Ohio. I burned out in 2018, and I burned out in a blaze of glory. And it was awful. And by the time I was burned out, I had no idea it was coming. But if I look back at myself, I know that it was coming for years. And so I had to learn. In 2018, I had to learn. 2019, I learned a whole bunch of new series of methods that helped me get out of group therapy. It helped me get off of any antidepressants I was on. And I've helped thousands of people recover from burnout and stress since then to lead happy and successful lives. Now, of course, stay on your medication, go to your group therapy, but this will help you during those times to feel better and get your feet on the ground. So let's get back to it. There's a downward spiral of burnout. And as I mentioned before, it doesn't happen overnight. The progression goes from enthusiasm. You're excited about the new relationship, the new job, the new role, the new power, the new money, whatever it is, the new status. And there's an excitement there. And then after years of putting up with just the little things, it's the little nibbles. You know, it's piranha don't skeletonize a cow in one big bite. They take little nibbles out of the cow. And that stress does the same thing to us. These little nibbles get us stuck. We start paying attention to those little moments and we get stuck and stagnated. And we go into a frustration because now it's starting to hurt. The water's starting to rise. And then we go into basically this apathy right before this burnout happens. And then we go into burnout. We go to burnout mode where we can't sustain it anymore. We try to not care. We try to be detached. We try to do our job, keep our head above the water. And maybe this is you, whatever life you're finding yourself in. And maybe you're at the apathy stage or maybe beyond that where you can't not care. And all of a sudden you start to feel the effects of everything falling apart around you because you just can't maintain it anymore. And again, I know I've been there. I totally understand where you are. I've been where you've been, and I've helped other people get out of that same place that you were in as well. So each stage deepens the level of burnout because we're so distracted with the enthusiasm, the stagnation, the frustration, or we're trying to block ourselves and make ourselves feel numb with the apathy that it builds and builds and builds, and that it all collapses at once. It seems to, boom, collapse at once, but it's really been going for a very, very long time. Then we get a feeling of helplessness. We feel a loss of control. You feel reduced personal efficacy, like everything you do can't fix the situation. Because you're in such bad shape, the things that you do don't have much impact anyway. And so your personal efficacy, your efficiency, your ability to be a good parent or spouse or employee or director or leader. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what status you have. Everybody is at risk of burnout if they do not take care of themselves. And you cannot numb it away. That last stage of apathy is where we try to numb it with all sorts of addictions, all sorts of distractions, shopping, weird relationships with people. Spiraling down makes us try to avoid it, and then it all comes tumbling down at some point. The elastic stretches far enough, and then it snaps, and you are in serious trouble. And it impacts every single thing that you do in your life. So it affects you personally. It affects you professionally. You can't do your job. And that's what happened to me is I couldn't do my job anymore. I was an all-star. I was always making my numbers. I was always doing the things I was supposed to do. I was serving so many people. And then one year it started to decline. I'm like, what's going on? And the faster it declined, the more it declined, the faster it declined, if that makes sense. Like over time, it got faster and faster because I was not able to keep up the way that I used to. And I started getting inundated. It's like that drip made the flood come, and I wasn't able to fix the entire situation. And that spilled over to my personal life too. I made some poor decisions there. I was distant from friends because I didn't want them to see me being weak. Everything, my finances, everything was impacted. And I eventually walked away from everything that I was doing because I had to, for the good of the people that I was serving and for my own health and well-being. Luckily, I had a lot of great supporters who really helped me through all of this. And you need that too. You need good supporters to help you through to the end, to get through this, to get over this. So how do you start the recovery? Well, you have to understand yourself. And frankly, this is the only way to do it. You have to do a deep dive. You have to explore the emotional states to uncover the unresolved issues. Okay, I'm going to give some techniques, and I'm going to give the big technique that I've figured out myself. You have to give those emotions space. And frankly, you're probably not aware of everything that's going on underneath the surface. You've probably been so frustrated or trying to be apathetic, or you've been stagnated, or you've been worried that all of these things that build up, all of a sudden, you're not even quite sure of everything that's actually going on underneath the surface. And the only way that I have found to do this is a deep dive. Now, you can do this in various kinds of therapy. You can do this with journaling. I think journaling is great for some people. I keep a journal every day. It's a very short journal. I do just one line a day, but it's actually very helpful to I write one line a day and then I move on with my day. Therapy. I've been to therapy. Years of it. I do not think it requires years of therapy, and we'll talk about why that is in a minute. And frankly, mindfulness. And that's not some kind of fancy woo term. It's being aware of what's going on. So many people that have burned out because they never were connected to themselves. They really never were present with themselves. And all this stuff built up in the background, like the invisible dragon. That the more you ignore it, the bigger the dragon gets. And there's no necessarily you can do this through spirituality, you can do this through a variety of methods, but you have to connect to that deeper part of yourself, to the burned out part of yourself, to the wounded part of yourself, to allow yourself to really process everything that's going on. All these techniques are great. I highly recommend them. If you need medication to get you through the burnout, go get it from your doctor. That's perfectly fine. I would recommend that you use that time on medication to do these other things so that you can get off the medication, again, with your doctor's prescription, with your doctor's help and guidance. But I think that those should all be stopgap measures. I think that if you're taking medication, you should also be doing the deep dive to find what the root of the burnout is, the real root of the problem, to figure out what that burnout is. Here's my last slide. Okay. Well, this was a very good presentation, I think, although my last slide is there. All right. We're going to keep going. Bear with me, folks. There we go. There we got it. We're going to have to cut that out. So how do you do this? What is the strategy that you need to do to continue the journey to recovery? And I think this is really important. Number one, you have to create a space for healing. You have to give it space. And frankly, the temptation for a lot of people in burnout is to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, trying desperately to claw themselves out of the hole that they're in, when it really all it does is widen the hole. You've got to give it time. You've got to give it space for healing. You've got to empathize with yourself, which is frankly part of the problem, is that everything is under the surface. You've never worked with yourself. You've never been able to fix it because you don't really know what the real problem is. And you think you might know what the problem is. You think, well, if I do this, I'll get better. If I do this, I'll get better. Most of the time, if you're in a state of burnout, anything you think is going to be a remedy is actually not a remedy at all. It's actually something that may make things worse, because as you keep trying and failing all these different methods or things that you can do, or distractions or avoidance behaviors, the deeper you get into the hole of that burnout. So you need to establish really good boundaries, really good habits, like setting boundaries, giving yourself time to rest, giving yourself permission to take a break, giving yourself permission to work with somebody, to invest in yourself, to do the things that you're supposed to do, to maintain regular self-care. You've got to take care of yourself. It's like trying to drive a car with no gas in it. And you got to seek support. I know that when I burned out, I had a lot of support. I had a great therapist. I had two great therapists. One was spectacular and helped me to get out of my situation, and then taught me how he did it with a lot of other techniques that I picked up along the way. And I've helped a lot of people since then. You've got to have a good support staff. You got to have a good support system with your friends and your family. Know who you can trust and go to. And I developed something called the soul searching technique, or the soul searching method. And this soul searching technique is a series of deep dives into the deepest part of your soul, where all the avoidance behaviors are, where all the bad habits are, where all the pain is, where all of the wounds are. And you'll be able to go and make that deep dive safely with me, and be able to shed some lights, to open some windows, to do some spring cleaning, to clear out all of those emotional objects you've been hoarding over the last few years and months of your life, so that you can start to change them, to get rid of them, to heal them, to feel better. Now, I've collected a bunch of different techniques. I have so many tools at my disposal that have helped me and other people to recover from burnout, to relieve themselves of bad habits, to find the charisma that they had. You want to be charismatic. I totally get that. It's not just about getting better from burnout. The reason you're burned out is because you're already a charismatic person. You already are someone who puts themselves out there in order to make the world a better place for somebody or a group of people or whoever. And you want to make yourself even better than what you ever were before. So it's not just about recovery, but it's also about making yourself into the person that you know that you want to be. So I see your comments here, and I will address those comments here very shortly, but or I'll email you or text you afterward. Just put your comments into the comment box, whether you're on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, or you're in one of my other platforms. Just go ahead and do that, and I will, of course, get to you as soon as I can. But I want to make an invitation to you. Listen, I don't work with everybody. I work with select people who I think are best suited for me. So I'm going to put a link in, and I want you to follow that link, and it's going to take you to an application. If you want to work with me, you want to see if you qualify. I do not take everybody. I don't take people I don't think are ready. I don't take people who are not motivated. I don't take people who aren't going to invest their time, talents in their own recovery. If you are ready to do this, I am going to put a link in. You can click that and you can make an appointment with me, or excuse me, fill out the application. And if you qualify, I will invite you to make an appointment with me. We will evaluate each other and see if this is a good fit for the both of us. There's that link. Go ahead and click on it. If you are feeling up to it, create that application. It's going to take me a couple of days. I get a lot of people working with me. I have a lot of applications. Either myself or one of my helpers is going to evaluate that. And if we feel like you qualify to work with me, I will reach out and we will set an appointment and move on from there. You do not have to live with that burnout. You don't. There are ways out of it. There are ways to recover. There are ways to feel better. There are ways that you can find your peace again. Not only find your peace, but reinstate and reclaim that charisma that you know that you have. I appreciate your time. It's been 20 minutes. I'm going to keep these at 20 minutes. You see the link there. You can go ahead and fill out that application. I'll get back to you in 1 to 3 business days. I get a lot of applications, so please be patient with me. And if I feel like we're a good fit, I'll invite you to a call and we will work together. Have a great day. I'm so pleased that you joined me. Feel better. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you soon.